All right, so early voting is underway in Texas, and it turns out the state's GOP-backed voter ID law applies to one of its top Republican backers. Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott has to sign an affidavit in order to vote, thanks to the state's new voter identification law. Why, you're asking? Well, because the name on his driver's license, which is an acceptable form of ID, carries his full name, Gregory Wayne Abbott, but that doesn't match the name on the state's voter registration list, where he is Greg Abbott. State Senator Wendy Davis, Abbott's likely Democratic opponent in the governor's race, ran into the same problem earlier this week.
Like many women who are voting in Texas today, I was required to sign an affidavit because the name on my voter registration card is slightly different than the name on my driver's license. My driver's license includes my maiden name. My voter registration card does not.
Joining me right now is Judith Browne Dianis, co-director of the Advancement Project. Judith, it's good to have you here. And as we talk about the original bill, it was drafted by Republicans, and it would require voters to bring a document proving their name change with them to the polls. So it's a bit of irony, then, that it's thanks to this amendment that Wendy Davis introduced in 2011 that actually allows Greg Abbott to sign an affidavit and still vote. So is this the kind of collateral damage that is going to happen because of something so restrictive not being thought out ahead of time?
Well, I mean, some of it's not collateral. You know, when they passed these laws, this was really about manipulating the voting rules for partisan gain. And, you know, we knew from the beginning that women were going to be disproportionately impacted along with people of color and young voters. And it's not just in Texas, it's in other states where these ID laws were passed also, like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. And so when you can't look at this in a vacuum, right? These are the same people who passed these laws in Texas. They made it an emergency piece of legislation. The same people who are passing these laws are the same people who want to roll back civil rights and women's rights, and for young people take away any opportunity to go to college. So this is, you know, this was part of the party's platform for making it harder to vote for particular groups.
All right, so if we look at your website, it has some staggering statistics, some eye-openers for people. In Texas, over 1 in 10 registered voters lack ID. Then we have 127 counties that don't have ID issuing facilities. And the Justice Department, that's currently suing Texas over the strict law. So what's next in the battle, and what role do you and the Advancement Project play?
Right. Well, first, you should know that the Department of Justice says about 1.4 million eligible voters in the state of Texas do not have the ID that's required. And so what we have to do now is there's litigation that's going on that's brought by the Department of Justice and a number of civil rights organizations. But we also have to fight on the other side, which is making sure that we can start to get people the ID if we actually end up losing. But we've got to take these laws on, because people need to understand in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and North Carolina, where Advancement Project has lawsuits, there are millions of people who will not be able to participate. And we really have to move to a point where we have free, fair, and accessible elections. I mean, we're supposed to be the leading democracy in this country, and to pass these laws that make it unequal for people to participate is just a travesty.
The Advancement Project's Judith Browne Dianis. Great to have you on, Judith. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Thomas.